BlackRock is going to make buying Bitcoin easier to buy for a lot of people. Our good friend Harry at the back there would say everything is good for Bitcoin. Is a BlackRock ETF good for Bitcoin?
Well, BlackRock's not going to make it easy to buy Bitcoin. BlackRock's going to make it easy to buy IOUs.
You know what I mean?
It is rug pull technology. There's a big distinction.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Someone's buying the Bitcoin.
I mean, BlockFi made it really easy to buy Bitcoin too, right?
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin still going sideways after a month, but it is at the lowest level that we have been at in over a month. Right now, the reason that we're not really expecting anything crazy is because there's a lot of anticipation for the fact that the FOMC meeting is happening today. Maybe it's even happened by the time you've watched this video. We also have the House Financial Services Committee. They're meeting as well. They're going to be discussing cryptocurrencies, digital assets, stable coins. So there's a lot of sort of like news-driven events going on right now. Now, obviously, I don't ever recommend trading the news. We did go over yesterday what would most likely happen in that scenario. So obviously, there is some TA to go over today, but even if the news is already out and you're just watching this video right now, I still need you to stick around to the end because there are a few things I want to talk about. Number one, I wanted to actually discuss something that has happened with Bitcoin's structure. Okay, like its pattern right now in its price action. And this is an undeniable difference that a 5-year-old can see. And I want you to pay close attention to what this could mean for the Bitcoin price. Now, obviously, we've also had FEDNow, right, which launched like 6 days ago. Doesn't really seem to be making any big effect in the crypto space, right? And of course, guys, unfortunately, while we continue to make progression in so many different ways, the SEC is at it again. Yes, they are relentless. They are not stopping. And I want to talk about not only just that, and this is why I'm saying you should stick around to the end, because I want to just go over sort of this media manipulation, how they, sort of switch the information to make crypto seem like it's terrible, right? They twist the information, they get people afraid, and then, of course, what ends up happening, people miss out. So we're going to talk about all that today. And also, my goodness, did you guys just see what BlackRock said to investors? If you did not see the suggestion that BlackRock just made, wow, talk about a 180 from the previous few years. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Of course, if you guys want, we can dive into the chart super quick. But again, you will be trading the news, and it could get a little bit crazy, because all of a sudden Powell comes out, something happens, it falls, but then he sounds a little bit dovish, so then the price pumps. You're sitting there watching TV, you're trying to trade, you're going to just make yourself go crazy. But inevitably, what we do know, what we can see right here is yesterday we weren't really sure, but officially right now, this is the lowest, tightest we've ever had the Bollinger Bands on the weekly, right? We were almost at that level, and you can see right above my head, you can see this line right here. We have never been that low. The closest we were, I guess you could say right here, which was back in April of 2016, and yeah, massive, massive price explosion. So we know that we are coiling up. We know that we're looking for a move, but yet we are stalling out at this area. Now, if you want a little bit of hopium here. On the flip side, yes, we have fallen below this level, the lowest level in a month, but the overall pattern appears to be forming a falling wedge, right? So the fact that this came off of a big move, right? So you could say that this is almost like the pennant. You actually could technically say that this is a bullish pattern. So according to textbook trading, again, I don't know what's going to happen with the news. So I could tell you that this is a bullish pattern, and then Powell comes out and raises 0.75, and then everybody dumps, right? That has nothing to do with the charts. But realistically, this is showing us that this should be a breakout move to the upside, right? We had spoken multiple times about retesting. We are still having the ribbon in the green. And, another thing looking down here is realizing that we do have this. Well, you know how the anchor wave, trigger waves work down here with the with these blue waves? You can see right here, we are hitting down here at around this very critical level. And once we do tend to fall below that, especially when we're going down to the low side, not financial advice, that has actually been opportunities to long. So again, super quick, just trying to get the TA out of the way because I don't think it really matters. I'd rather see what happens today after the meeting, then we can assess it tomorrow. But you can see we are still on this upward sloping trend. So realistically, even though it's been really boring, the structure has not been broken. So I can't really get full on bearish, unless we start falling down to some of these lower levels. But as of right now, we're continuing to put in higher highs and we're continuing to put in higher lows. So if we continue to do that, then the trend is your friend and the trend is up. And, here, theoretically speaking, when you do get really deep into the green, right here, as you can see, that's genuinely when you want to start looking to long, right? So if you guys do want to learn how to trade, check the tutorial popping up above right here. $56,000 in bonuses. And some of those are exclusive to this channel. You cannot get these on other crypto channels. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you guys are interested, all those links are below in the description, right? But turning it over to just some other people, because sometimes I get kind of bored just telling you my opinion, right? There's a lot of analysts out there that they don't look at what other people are saying. I generally tend to be a little bit weary of what people say because it kind of influences your trading strategy, but I always like when El Crypto Professor puts these charts out, and the similarities are just uncanny, right? It may not exactly be the same scenario, it may not be repeating exactly, but it does rhyme. And you can see right here, you have this crash for COVID, you have this crash for FTX. As soon as basically we come here, we reestablish this resistance flipped as support, and we break the upward sloping trend, well, we go on a moonshot, right? And what are we doing right here? Well, we flipped the resistance as support, and we've actually not even fallen below this trend yet. So arguably, you could say that maybe this is even looking more bullish than the previous, right? And something that Trader Tardigrade pointed out, this is very, very interesting, and I have to give him a shout out for noticing this, but on the way down to the bottom, we were doing converging patterns, right? Where we were getting tighter and falling, tighter and falling, tighter and falling, and now we're doing diverging patterns. So like Jeffy's points out, descending, broadening wedges, these are inherently bullish patterns, and we're seeing these broadening wedges over and over and over again. And I don't know if you guys remembered, but before the massive run into the 2019-2020, we were coming out of a massive, massive broadening wedge, right? So another thing just to point out before we get to the news is, of course, the fact that Bitcoin supply on exchanges is down 12% since just May. And I don't have the exact number pulled up in front of me, but this is the lowest on, I want to say, in about 5 to 6 years. I don't know the exact number, but it's around that time, which is really showing the confidence in, first of all, well, the lack of confidence, I should say, in the centralized exchanges and the confidence in being a self-custody crypto holder. Also, another thing that we can pay attention to is that currently we've seen a lot of these large wallets holding stable coins just kind of going sideways right now. So if you're wondering what is the real trigger, well, what you're looking for is to start noticing some of these wallets decreasing, right? Because they're not really trading right now. I hear a lot of people calling for alt season. Look, we've had a couple coins pop. We had some little AI gems. Obviously, Elon's out here pumping X and Doge. But yeah, I mean, it's not really altcoin season. It's not alt season. It's just we've had a few here or there, right? And until you really start to see that Bitcoin dominance really, really fall, and until you start to see these stable coins really, really swap, I will continue to say that right now the focus remains on Bitcoin. I do, because if you have a look, that's what the institutions are looking at. And BlackRock has an incredible possible suggestion for their investors. So, crypto killer FEDNow launches. It fails to kill crypto. That's about all I have to say about this. I don't really care. I know a lot of these guys like Warren Davidson, they're against CBDCs. Now, FEDNow is technically not a CBDC. It just sort of emulates it, centralized, but we'll have to see. But again, you are seeing people step up and speak out. But unfortunately, there is this one 3-letter agency in the United States. I'm sure you can guess who they are. I'm sick of reporting them. The SEC, Gary Gensler. They need to go. They need restructuring. But again, look at this. So obviously they were a little bitter about their Ripple loss, which now they're trying to appeal, right? So it sounds to me, again, like they're just more convinced in trying to attack crypto than actually trying to protect the investors. That's just how it actually comes across to me at this point in time. But again, here we go. They've accused blockchain security firm QuantStamp of conducting an illegal ICO in 2017. Now, the company, unfortunately, has agreed to settle. This is what happens with a lot of these companies, a lot of these projects. They don't want to fight the SEC. They don't want to go to court for 2 years like Ripple XRP. So they just go, all right, whatever, we'll just pay you guys. it's easier to do, right? They announced a statement that they filed criminal complaints against QuantStamp, raising over $28 million from 5,000 investors. They accepted they agreed to settle without accepting or denying, so they didn't admit they were right or wrong. They just do what everybody does, and they just pay the money so they don't have to deal with it. So basically, they have almost $2 million paying back, 500,000 pre-assessment, and $1 million in civil penalties. They will also return the tokens to the original investors. So it's like you take a step forward, you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? The SEC just doesn't seem like they actually genuinely have investor. All the things that the SEC could have been doing, Coinbase is trying to reach them for 2 years. They approve them to get listed on the exchange, knowing what they do. Then 2 years later, they hit them with a Wells notice. Coinbase reaches out. They won't give them an answer. Conveniently, for 2 straight years, Gary's just never available. But then all of a sudden, he's just having background meetings with SBF from FTX like over the course of years. Come on. It's ridiculous. We're moving on. Check out this. So this has to be one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So BlackRock, the optimal Bitcoin allocation is Exhibit 4, presents the results starting with a 60-40 equity bond portfolio, which is produced with a risk aversion of Y equals 1.5. The optimal Bitcoin allocation is a large 84.9%. Please tell me somebody's trolling me right now. Is this an official BlackRock document? Although Bitcoin has an extremely large volatility of 1.322, the pronounced positive skewedness lead to large allocations and dominates in the utility of the function. Now, Joe Burnett broke this down. Just think about this. If all investors follow BlackRock's optimal Bitcoin allocation, Bitcoin will be worth more than 5 times the value of all equities, real estate, and bonds. 84.9% Bitcoin, 15.1% everything else. If global wealth is $800 trillion today, Bitcoin would be worth $190 million per coin. Now, this obviously is one of the most ridiculous astronomical projections we've ever heard, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's possible. People thought I was crazy for saying Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million. This is $190 million a coin. At that case, guys, just get one and hold it. You know what I'm saying? What could possibly be the risk at that point? But look, this is what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so you have the SEC, and you also have these outlets like the New York Post. Now, obviously, we know the situation with Ripple. We know all of the security nonsense and this and that, but listen to the way that the New York Post report. Now, this is a 4-day-old article, so this didn't exactly come out today. But listen how the media twists this. Obviously, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Crazy crypto ruling judge shaking up the $1.2 trillion market. We are taught to revere the judiciary because divine legal truth is supposed to be heady stuff. We probably shouldn't. They go in here and they say some other stuff, which I'm honestly not going to go into because it's a little controversial. I really don't want to talk about it on the channel. But then they go, another gem from the judiciary came about 2 weeks ago, courtesy of Manhattan federal judge and Annalisa Torres. Security law experts say that she, in essence, ruled that small investors don't deserve the same type of protections as some dude working at a hedge fund. Yeah, you read that right. Okay. Now, I understand why they word it that way. I again, don't feel that way, but Torres' ruling, meanwhile, makes some of the most absurd legal arguments impacting security laws and now crypto regulation. Some of Ripple XRP's sales to those Wall Street fat cats were in fact securities, and demand disclosure between these were so-called investment contracts, etc. Then she rules that Ripple's disclosure fee sales to small investors were totally kosher, according to her ill logic, because they purchased their XRP through an intermediary like an exchange. They were not entering into investment contracts. These blind sales aren't securities, so it's perfectly legal for Ripple to stiff the little guy on disclosure. In her words, both sides won, both lost, and now no one really knows how to proceed going forward. In the meantime, the crypto industry will have to live with one of the most bizarre and dangerous court rulings I've ever seen in covering finance for 3 decades. So obviously this is this guy, I guess it's his opinion, Charles Gasparino. But again, these are the types of stories that you are seeing. This crazy, judge making this very dangerous rule. What's hard for the SEC is that they need to change their stance on the way that they look at things, because whereas you have the New York Stock Exchange just sort of listing everything, right? There are so many different places that you can buy digital assets. There's not like one end all be all, like if Coinbase was the only exchange. No, you have Gemini, you have Kraken, you have Bittrex, you have all these offshore choices too, right? If you want to do like BitGet, you have Bybit, you have Femex, you have Apex. There's so many different exchanges that you can use. KuCoin, tons of them. I could just keep naming them. And they don't like it, but it is a new paradigm, and they are going to have to get with the new ways because these other guys are moving forward. You have EDX Markets, right? They're a non-custodial crypto exchange backed by Wall Street giants Fidelity, Citadel, Schwab, partnering with Talos, a leading institutional-grade digital asset trading technology provider. So we are continuing to move forward, and I'm very interested to see what they have to say in this financial meeting today. I'll have a lot to report about on it tomorrow for sure. Also, just follow me over on Twitter if you guys want. I will be tweeting over there some interesting things if you guys want to know. But I don't like ending necessarily on bad notes. For example, JP Morgan strategist issues de-dollarization alert, says that U.S.-China tensions key to the world reserve currency's future. Essentially, a lot of people have been referring to what's going on right now as the potential second Cold War. Now, this is not my opinion, it's just what I've heard, but basically, people are not trusting the US dollar the way that we've used the sanctions, and I think a lot of people are going to lose faith in really any of these centralized fiat currencies. Of course, we have to use them. If you're a citizen of a country, you have to use that currency to buy, goods or services, but it doesn't have to be your store of wealth, your choice of value. And I think a lot of the world is going to be moving towards things like Bitcoin. And, here's just an example, not a, famously large country, but the country of Namibia has been the latest to actually reverse their ban on cryptocurrencies. They have passed a law to regulate it. And this is good. We're seeing a lot of countries that came out and had really negative stances on it, they're starting to realize its value. And this is happening in the US as well. So basically, guys, that's it for me today. Again, not going to go too crazy on the charts. Anything can happen by the time you guys are watching this video. We could be over 30,000. We could be down by 25.3. I think there's going to be a lot of just kind of listening to Powell, listening to the Financial Services Committee, seeing what's going on. And I think by the end of this week and the next 2 days, I think we'll have a much clearer picture on where Bitcoin might be headed. But again, I'm telling you, volatility is very imminent, and I don't think we can continue to go sideways very much longer. I would say I was going to think that we would have moved by now. If we don't have some move by the end of this week, I would be shocked if by early next week we don't see some pretty colossal movement for Bitcoin. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you had an awesome time watching this video. Hope you have a great day. It is the middle of the week, but we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So that's it for me. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Check out these tutorials right now. You are missing out. Let's get this video to a bunch of likes. I don't know. Smash the likes. You guys know. Whatever. I don't care. Just drop by. Join the free Telegram. You're awesome. I love you. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.